Hi everyone, I'm Natalie and you are watching CoinsBank YouTube channel. We are continuing our series of interviews with industry leaders, and today we have the most famous crypto trader, public speaker and former Wall Street analyst, Tone Vays. Tone, hi!
Hi, how are you? Thank you for doing the interview. This is great. Looking forward to it. I wish we could be doing this on the CoinsBank cruise.
Yes, thank you very much for your time and thanks for having this interview with us. I just wanted to start with these words that you are very special guests and favorite speaker at all our events. And we decided to make our today's video a little bit fun. So it will be a quiz style interview, not very unusual maybe for you. So my job is to ask you shortly and your answers are not necessarily short.
All right, let's do it.
Just off top question, what was the reason for Bitcoin pumping this week?
There doesn't have to be a reason. It's a combination of reasons. The government has been printing a lot of money. A lot of people have been speculating with money. People are sitting around at home, nothing to do. People are reading more about the crypto space, and the price has been consolidating for months. I was talking about the price breaking hard one way or another. It actually wasn't that easy to know which way the price was going to move, but I knew that it was going, if it moved, it was going to move quite a bit. So I was looking for either a $2,000 drop or a $2,000 rise. Once we started to rise past that $9,500, I was expecting the price to go up. Most of that rise happened in one day, but here we are. And now the price is holding 11,000 for a few days.
Okay, that was my top question. And let's start our quiz. So the first question, Bitcoin was made for?
So Bitcoin is the money for the people that nobody controls. So the person that gets into Bitcoin tomorrow benefits just as much as the person that got into Bitcoin in 2010. The person that got in 2010 is probably a little bit richer if he didn't throw it away without knowing its value. But in the long term, Bitcoin's benefits are equal. For everyone, it creates a level playing field, and that's what capitalism really is about. It's an even playing field where that gives you a chance to succeed.
Okay, second question, Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Oh God, Bitcoin 1,000 times over. So Ethereum has a major identity crisis. Ethereum token doesn't know what it is. Nobody does. Is it gas? Is it money? Is it stock of the Ethereum corporation? The Ethereum token has a major identity crisis. The use case that Ethereum platform provides is just a database to create securities on top of it. And there's lots of competition for Ethereum, but there's no competition to Bitcoin. Ethereum knows it can't compete with Bitcoin. That's why it's getting rid of its proof of stake. And they're basically just admitting that they're going to be a database that for some reason has an internal money. Ethereum makes no logical sense whatsoever. Eventually people will understand, and I don't have big prospects for Ethereum. Bitcoin stands alone. It has no competition. It is politically neutral value transfer that is unconfiscatable. One of my favorite words in the space.
Okay, next question. Who rules the crypto world today?
Nobody rules in Bitcoin. Not a single person in Bitcoin is actually important. I'm certainly not important. If I go away tomorrow, it doesn't matter. Roger was a very important and influential person in Bitcoin. He went away, started his own alternative that is pretty much dying. I can't believe it hasn't died yet. And every time someone thinks they are important and critical to Bitcoin success, they learn real quick that the ecosystem, the Bitcoin ecosystem, doesn't care. That is not true for any other crypto ecosystem. Vitalik rules Ethereum, Charles Hoskinson rules Cardano, Dan Larimer rules like 3 blockchains. So everything else has these charismatic leaders.
Okay, next question. When will we see the worldwide crypto adoption and why we haven't seen it yet?
Wow, there is actually several reasons why we haven't seen it yet. One of the reasons why we haven't seen it yet is because people still believe in all of these altcoins. They believe in these ICOs. Now everyone is falling in love with DeFi, which also is just another iteration of the ICOs of 2017. So one of the reasons is that back in 2013, when Bitcoin first started its major upswing, so many businesses started accepting Bitcoin. Everyone was a Bitcoiner. Everyone wanted Bitcoin adoption. But then something changed. Around 2015, 2016, everyone wanted to get rich on their own altcoin, on their scam coin, on their ICO. So this Bitcoin ecosystem was no longer this one united unit against traditional fiat money. It became a pump and dump ecosystem of altcoins. And that has significantly slowed down adoption because it's hard to explain to people. The moment someone even mentions Bitcoin on Twitter, they get 1,000 replies. No, buy my shitcoin, buy my shitcoin, buy my shitcoin. And it's impossible for new people to come to the space and have a full understanding as to what is actually the innovation and what is actually happening. So I think that is one of the biggest reasons why Bitcoin is so slow to be adopted, is because the people are very confused, not only outside of the crypto space, but a lot of people are confused inside the crypto space as to what Bitcoin adoption is supposed to be. So that's one reason. Another reason is it just takes some time. Bitcoin is slow to adopt the latest changes. We have another soft fork coming up that's going to make Bitcoin a little more private, a lot better to use. So that's coming. And Lightning is developing. It's developing a little slower than a lot of people hoped, but it's coming. You don't want Bitcoin adoption too early, because that could get, it could create a really bad user experience, and it could slow down the set adoption. But I think once Bitcoin breaks the new all-time highs, adoption is going to come, and I really hope Lightning Network is ready to handle all the people coming in.
Okay, you mentioned before, and my next question, DeFi market, will it be crushed soon and when?
It's hard to say what a crash in the DeFi market will be. We saw a huge problem in the DeFi market when the price of Ethereum crashed back in March. And that is the problem with the DeFi market. It's too interdependent on too many intermediaries that are basically run by code that isn't scalable. So DeFi, some of the DeFi stuff is dependent on an oracle like Chainlink, which again makes no sense. So you have your DeFi project dependent on top of Ethereum, dependent on another project that's on top of Ethereum, dependent on Ethereum itself, which has its own problems whenever the price fluctuates or whenever too many people use Ethereum. Now, if you take one of these intermediaries and you stick another blockchain in the middle of it, that could become even more problematic. Like if you have your DeFi project on top of, say, EOS, that's dependent on top of an oracle on top of Cardano, where Cardano's token is itself dependent on top of Ethereum because it was an ICO. You're just building this giant house of cards, and you don't know when the whole house of cards is going to come down, but it is going to come down. I'm hoping that people just get smarter and they stop believing. See, there's nothing wrong with the concept of DeFi. The problem is that no one is actually using DeFi. People are just speculating on the tokens of DeFi projects, thinking that other people are going to use DeFi. So that's the thing, and it's completely irrelevant. There's not that much in there that is relevant. It's all about the token speculation. And now that Bitcoin price is rising, it's lifting all of these altcoins and all these ICOs back up again. And that is a little bit scary, because if Bitcoin continues to rise without actually separating from the altcoins, without increasing in Bitcoin dominance, then all we're doing is building another bubble. That means people have not learned their lesson. People are still putting some of their money into Bitcoin, but a lot of their money into just outright scams that are going to collapse. And when they collapse, it'll drag Bitcoin down with it. I always compare Bitcoin or the crypto ecosystem to the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ had a very similar bubble to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin or crypto in 2017 is the same as the NASDAQ bubble of 2000 with the dot-coms. Now, when that bubble burst, all of these companies that had dot-coms and were so popular, all of these companies basically disappeared because people realized that you needed more than a dot-com in your name of a company for it to be valuable. It doesn't look like people have learned their lesson. And when the NASDAQ finally started to rise, it took 15 years for the NASDAQ to reach a new high versus 2000. Took 15 years. It's now been it's been almost 3 years since Bitcoin had its high, and we're still down 50%. So what took NASDAQ 15 years could potentially only take Bitcoin 3 years. But the big difference is when the NASDAQ made a new all-time high in 2012, none of these useless dot-coms were part of it. People were smart enough to look for an actual business in that company. And it doesn't look like people have gotten much smarter in the crypto space. So if we go to new all-time highs in Bitcoin, it'll take a few years more for all of crypto to make a new all-time high together as a combined market cap. But if I see all of these silly altcoins rising to new all-time highs again, that means we're not sustained. When the NASDAQ went to new all-time high in 2012, we just crushed all-time highs. The NASDAQ has doubled since then. It's hard for me to believe that Bitcoin will double or triple if it's dragging along a bunch of dead weight that basically has no real business or real fundamentals beneath it.
Continue, please, my phrase. The future of stablecoins.
So the future of stablecoins is regulation. Stablecoins will, there's nothing wrong with stablecoins. Well, there's two problems with stablecoins. One of them is transparency. We're still not very clear about the transparency of the most popular stablecoin, which is Tether. And the New York Attorney General and the US government are digging into the transparency of Tether. So your stablecoins, for starters, they need transparency. They also need regulation. What makes your coin stable? Is it some mathematical formula in the form of DeFi, in which case, what controls it, who has the back door, who has the ability to maintain that relationship, and is it really stable if it's not backed by anything? If it's backed by something, who's responsible for maintaining the backing? Is it backed by US dollars? Is it backed by the euros? Is it backed by gold? Is it backed by a basket of currencies or assets? If it's backed by something, who regulates the backing? Who keeps an eye on the backing? Is that the job of the government? And if it's the job of the government, then the government can control that stable coin as well. So the future of stable coins is full regulatory compliance because you can't trust it if it's not regulatory compliant. And if it's regulatory compliant, then it's the old system that we're trying to change with Bitcoin. So the future for stable coins, while it has some uses, it doesn't have any of the properties of Bitcoin being unconfiscatable, being censorship-resistant value transfer, or finite in its supply, because you can always create more stablecoin.
Next question. What crypto exchanges should be afraid of today?
Crypto exchanges, though, there's two things, and they've always been the same. So crypto exchanges should be afraid of hacking, internal and external. Many of the hacks are actually done by their employees. We just learned that with Twitter. Even Twitter was basically hacked through an internal employee bribe. At least that's the rumor, the consensus on the rumor.
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing that the exchange should be concerned with. The second is regulation once again. An exchange is a centralized entity. There is a company, and regulation on exchanges has existed forever. And they may not, if the exchange is legitimate, they shouldn't have too much to be scared. They will have to comply with regulation. Now, they can fight back some of that regulation. Kraken is fighting back all of the subpoenas that they're getting on their users. Coinbase is not fighting back. Coinbase is actually calling the regulators and the government and handing them over the information, trying to profit from that information. So there's different ways to look at it. I'm always upset at exchanges that have their own internal utility token. This is exchange like Binance. I think it's not fair. I think it's unfair that Binance has an extra $1 billion because they created this utility token without regulation, created what I refer to as an unlicensed, unregistered security, or they printed their own money, or they created a useless utility token. So I'm hoping that when the regulation comes, it is more severe towards companies like Binance versus companies like BitMEX that did not create their own internal token and did it in a more honest way.
Today's trading, is it organic or manipulative?
I believe that trading is generally organic because I have a different view on what is defined as manipulation. A guy with a lot of money, a whale, can certainly manipulate the price, as in they can move the price. But as long as that whale plays by the rules, he's within his rights to manipulate the price all he wants. So when we mention the word manipulation, we got to talk about, is it, fair or unfair? And to me, someone with a lot of money moving the price is totally fair, as long as they're playing by the same rules. Now, manipulation as in, the exchange knows a lot of information and they're using that information to trade against their users. They're selling this information to a hedge fund that now has an advantage on trading versus the users of that exchange. When we talk about that kind of manipulation, that is obviously unfair. So I don't know how often that happens, but a lot of people blame manipulation because they lost money on a trade because the asset moved a lot. And my answer to them is, then don't trade assets that are so easily manipulated. Go trade Apple stock. Go trade Amazon stock. If you're complaining that some altcoin number 25 on CoinMarketCap, where a guy with $1 million can move the price, if that bothers you, why are you trading it? So my view is that manipulation is rare. And if you have evidence that there was actual cheating going on, not a guy with more money than you moving the price, then maybe the space should be more regulated and someone would be holding these exchanges accountable. But the majority of the people that are screaming manipulation, they just don't like the fact that they're on the wrong side of the trade.
What will be the price for one BTC in December 2020?
Oh, wow. So in the beginning of the year, so in the first week of January, I wrote an article saying that Bitcoin would drop to below 5,000 before the halving, which it did. And then I said that after that, Bitcoin would consolidate and be stuck around or just under $10,000 for the majority of the year. And I said that Bitcoin would close the year at approximately $10,000. I'm not yet ready to walk away from that. I think that Bitcoin has a high probability of closing the year at approximately $10,000. But right now I'm a little more bullish than I was even a month ago. So somewhere between 10 and 12,000, probably around current prices, seems very reasonable to me. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't go up to 15,000 over the next few months and then pull back to this $10,000, $11,000 area going into December.
That was my final question. Thank you very much. It was fun. So my, again, last question. What will be the topic at our CoinsBank event in Turkey in September?
I'm not sure yet. It's plenty of time. Bitcoin ecosystem changes so quickly. I may have to bring back my presentation that I used to do. I think I did it at an old CoinsBank event, the inevitable ICO bubble. There's always DeFi. So I may be talking about that, or it depends on where the price of Bitcoin is. So yeah, really looking forward to visiting that region.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. It was fun, interesting, and I hope to see you in September very soon in Turkey at our event.
I'm really looking forward to attending the CoinsBank event in Turkey at the end of September. Of course, we all have to keep an eye on COVID, but when you hear me saying that I have my plane ticket, definitely come out, and would love to get dinner in Turkey.